Hello, welcome to our 7th video chat of 2022, Donkeys and Dragons, where we spend about 15 minutes talking about a specific topic. Today, we're going to talk about dragons, which is my favorite topic, just a little bit, but then we're going to have our guest share some of his experience with testing on Agile teams in his organization. We are joined today by Kari Kakkonen, author of Dragons Out book. And I'm Janet Gregory.
And I'm Lisa Crispin. Kari is a director for Know It in Helsinki, Finland. He's received the Eurostar Testing Excellence Award, which is super cool, and Tester of the Year in Finland award, and there are lots of awesome testers in Finland, so that's big too. And he's created a wonderful way for kids of all ages to learn about testing, explaining software development and testing through fantasy stories featuring dragons, castles, knights, and lots more. So, Kari, I noticed that you've been doing a lot of presenting lately, including in-person conferences again. How are you enjoying that?
I'm enjoying that a lot. It's been really good talking to people about the ideas about testing and my dragons. Very cool. Also, the face-to-face conferences have been really a big relief after all these online conferences. Although I like to speak online, that's totally awesome. But it's even better when you have hundreds of people, or I think my max is 1,000 people in front of me. I guess that's in France, in Paris. Really excellent feeling coming out of that. And you know, when people can come to you after the talk, talk to you about the ideas and chat and share their own life experiences related to testing, and you know, maybe their ideas about how are they going to talk about testing to others, because usually with my topic about testing for children, they get inspired. Okay, I want to talk about testing the children as well. It's, you know, they are our future. They will be the future testers. We need to start educating them early. So yeah, I get lots of big enthusiasm out there. It's great.
Yeah. So can you tell us how Agile testing, I know that you talk about testing, but do you actually bring Agile into it in your Dragons Out book, which is, as I understand it, about testing for both children and adults?
It is, exactly, it is. So I try to keep a level where everybody can read it, so it's very understandable and clear, and that's why everything happens through a fantasy story, and then it's always explained out in the real world, or the IT terminology. And sort of obviously for Finland, I mean, all of our teams in Finland are agile. Naturally, I set everything as an agile team, but I explain it also. It is an agile team. This is an agile team where you have people who are both coding and testing, and they are responsible of everything. I even mentioned DevOps team, you know, which is where you also are in charge of the operations and running the software and monitoring it and seeing how it grows. So I had lots of fun trying to figure the analogies, how that all this works in a fantasy story. So you know, knights, and I specifically chose knights to be both coders and testers. So they are, you know, it's a team of knights, and that's like an agile team, and they are sometimes fighting dragons. Somebody is sometimes just finding a dragon, and some other knight may be killing the dragon or banishing the dragon, and not always killing them, like that. So sometimes just, you know, banishing, sometimes even just taming the dragon, and so yeah, some bugs can be useful. So defects are dragons. So you need to get rid of the dragons in the book most of the time, somehow.
Yeah, I like the idea of taming the dragon much more than killing it.
Yeah, and I just love your analogy using these fantasy stories, which everybody loves, featuring dragons as defects and knights as the software team and the villagers. Lots of people participate. And I think it works so well. Each of your stories illustrates a different type of defect, and there are exercises at the end of each chapter or each story for readers to practice. So there's practical stuff in there. And I also love your materials for teachers with the exercises, having kids draw the dragons and castles to represent defects and software products and teams. So I love all that. We'd also like to hear about your own day-to-day experiences. You've combined Agile tester and Scrum coaching roles often in your work at Know It, and we're wondering if you could tell us a little about how that works.
That works very well. That's I think a natural fit. It's like testing is sort of a holistic thing. You think about the big picture most of the time to understand what to test and how to test, and then Scrum coach, Scrum master, Agile coach, any name of this role. It tends to be also about the big picture of how the team can work together collaboratively and effectively and all of that. So I tend to start. Well, I tend to start talking about testing, but then I tend to continue talking about how can the team be more agile, or how can the team be more DevOps, and so I actually find myself improving, supporting, mentoring, coaching, depending on team, the team about Scrum, not about testing, but about Scrum or Lean or Kanban, depending on what kind of a team it actually is. So it's totally natural fit, and also the same goes for lots of our consultants that know it, and they do it also very often. And so when we noticed it many years ago that this is a natural fit, we actually started training our testers to have these Scrum Master certificates and get these skills as, of course, as well, not only certificate, but get their hands on to these topics so that they can actually formally take that role also in their teams. So yeah. It works nicely.
I guess as a Scrum Master or facilitator, then you can start asking more questions about testing and things. I know that on some teams that I've worked in, if a person takes on two roles, sometimes one doesn't fit as much. But in more mature teams, it becomes a natural kind of thing because the team just doesn't necessarily need a Scrum Master anymore.
Exactly.
Because they don't. Do you find that you mentioned that you have a lot of coaches that are helping out the teams? So I know that you are also a Agile and DevOps trainer. So when you're training versus coaching, do you find that is different? So when you're training, how do you fit that testing and DevOps together? How does it versus coaching? Because there is a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
So yeah, absolutely it does.
Okay.
So when coaching, you are with the team, when the teams work, and you try to understand the situation and throw some questions out there that might help the team. Or if it's agreed, you can keep to the routines that are maybe on your responsibility, like set up the daily meetings, for example. That could be a responsibility. But when I'm training, I'm trying to put more testing in there, because very often when you have a course material that comes from pure, let's say, Scrum point of view, or come from a pure DevOps point of view, testing is a little bit of a side note. And I think it's not only a side note, it's one of the key ingredients of any team. So whenever I'm taking a course and I'm training, I'm filling in more testing stories when I'm talking about, let's say, Scrum. I'll still talk about testing and try to make sure people understand that testing is a really big part of all the steps of getting the product out in good quality.
I know one of my favorite sayings is that I think that testing is the heart of DevOps.
Yeah,
it truly is.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. Even for the test automation, you get, if you think about continuous delivery pipeline, and if you draw it out, it's easily testing is only there in the middle. You commit and you make a new version, and then you run some tests, and then you release maybe. It's not only that test automation bit, it's the idea of good quality put into the software using all the steps of your
Yeah.
work, and
That's
that's the heart of
Yep.
yeah, I like that. That's the heart of the software development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons Lisa and I use that term holistic testing,
Yeah.
because it's more than just the automation or anything else.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And I also like your whole team approach term. I've been using it extensively
Yes.
over the years.
Well, and speaking of our course, Janet had the opportunity to teach our course at Know It a few years back. In it was in Helsinki, right?
Yeah.
I'm just curious if it had any impact, and did you change anything at Know It as a result of that course? Or you mentioned you like the whole team approach idea. Is there anything that else that impacted you?
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. It was a course where we brought some key customers and then our consultants. So it was it was many years ago actually. I forget when, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It has.
Some years ago. Anyway, at that time, lots of our testing consultants didn't have that much of agile testing experience because the teams in Finland, they're transforming. Nowadays everybody is agile, but that time it was like half. And so it was a big starting point for us. And I think we started this big wheel turning from Janet's visit, and then we started rolling everybody to understand one way or another. You need to understand agile testing. So we ran some other courses with some Finnish trainers. We made people read your books as well, and so yeah, I think nowadays everybody is happy and understands agile testing, and that's the core of how things work in our testing.
Yeah, I really like that. It was I had this vision of, like a little cog starting it and then turning into a big water wheel to keep it going as you were talking. That warms my heart that it started something. So that's a good thing. Often when we give the course, we walk away and you go, did it help at all? So to know that it was kind of the nucleus to start the whole thing with your team, is that organization, it's a good thing. But our time is up. So this is where we kind of say goodbye, but we share our contact information. So please do contact Lisa and I. Subscribe to our newsletter, which comes out monthly. Don't forget to check out our blog posts. But I also encourage everyone to follow Kari on Twitter, because he is on Twitter. Check out his book, especially if you might have kids that you want to teach how to testing. I was trying to teach my grandson some things about testing quite a few years ago. And I was thinking that it would have been helpful at that point of time. I believe that Dragon's out. Right now it's in Finnish and English, right?
And actually in Polish, just this
And
month.
in Polish.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Oh, are there other languages on the way?
Yeah, there's also French and German and Hungarian in translations. Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
My parents have passed away now, but I was thinking it would have been a great book to explain to my parents what it is I do. Because they were just as clueless as kids might be.
Yeah, really.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. So we'll say goodbye and thank you for joining us. And thank you very much, Kari, for being on.
Yeah, thanks. It was an honor to have you on. So
thank you very much. And Janet, thank you for the review in the book.
You're so welcome.